Hey there everyone, this is Dutch Master, bringing you some D4 related content today. I thought I would give a kind of a little bit of a different build guide to what's typically out there rather than just necessarily what is strictly meta or one of the established builds. I like to take a little bit of a different approach each season that I think is a little more challenging, a little more fun, trying to come up with my own build. A couple of different things that can kind of get the juices flowing, get me excited about a build. Could be the two items that I think might have an interesting interaction that I want to try to build a build around, see how it works. More commonly, though, come up with kind of an idea for a character within a game that I like to try to recreate from somewhere outside the game. This kind of started for me with Diablo when kind of going to make an ice wizard or ice orc, D2 or D3, and I'd always just name sorcerer or wizard Shiva. For my time playing Final Fantasy as a kid, was a kind of a summon character that was ice based. So a few seasons ago, I had the idea to start different characters to challenge myself to not only match up their abilities, but to also have them be a powerful character and try to find some way to theorycraft a build that will match up to the lore of this character from somewhere else. And one of my favorites is Storm from X-Men. I kind of like to think of this build as the Mistress of the Elements build. And essentially what I'm doing is trying to make a build that will result in her abilities being exposed to what Storm's abilities are in comic books or TV shows. Now, again, this is kind of more if Storm was a character in Diablo. So, has to kind of take a little bit of a Diablo kind of view on her abilities and her powers as being able to control the weather. So, essentially, the goal is on my end is to make a build where she's making use of lightning as well as ice type abilities, and then you can use the abilities as close as you can to what she can do in terms of making them weather related. For me, that's what I'm trying to go for. So it does kind of lead to situations where you're kind of having to balance power from changing abilities to something else that maybe doesn't fit with the character versus staying true to the character, which kind of adds that extra element of challenge to creating a build. Obviously, it's a challenge to make your own build no matter what. But I have this other feature that makes the game a little bit more fun. I've been playing Diablo since I was like 10 or 12 years old. It's, if you ask me what was my favorite video game, I'd have to say Diablo. I do play other games as well, but this one has always kind of been the mainstay. Grew up playing Diablo 1, picked up Diablo 2 in high school, and have played, a mix of D3, D2R, and D4 since then. So I've been playing for, over 2 decades, some form or fashion. So very into Diablo and also very into comic books and things like that. So typically the characters that come up with this are oftentimes comic book characters, but could also be in some kind of form of nerd culture from a TV show or something too. But again, the build I'm going to be going through with you guys now is Storm from X-Men. So you can see my abilities down here. These are not the final abilities, the starter abilities. So I leveled her up to level 20 just to have it be a little bit more interesting. Around level 20 is where it kind of starts to get a little bit more interesting build diversity. Start unlocking, you've got your ultimate ability, you're getting close to having your key passive. So we take a quick look. Currently have Frostbolt on here, and eventually the goal is to not have Frostbolt. And in the case of this build, we're going to be using 2 core skills, which may be a little bit atypical to do that. However, if you're looking to have kind of 2 main abilities for Storm, you kind of need to have not just lightning, but also ice, not just ice, but also lightning. So you come down to, you kind of have some choices for that. Frozen Orb, ice shards, chain lightning, charge bolts. Then on the mastery side, you do also have ball lightning or potentially blizzard. Blizzard, of course, would match him very well. But I haven't seen them release any decent items related to Blizzard in quite a few seasons. So as nice as it would be to have that, I personally don't use it, but maybe there's some item combination I'm thinking of there. Something outside of ice spikes that I'm not thinking of, but once they add something to this, it's kind of not super viable. So it basically comes down to, in my mind, ice shards versus frozen orb, and I kind of prefer frozen orb because of the items that are available for it. And I choose chain lightning over ball lightning because it's more in keeping with the theme of the character. You could also do charge bolts, but again, based on what items are available, I do think chain lightning is the best bet there with the axial conduit. And then also use teleport, of course. Ice armor. Teleport is not super in keeping with Storm's abilities, but she can fly, which there's no flying in Diablo, so it's kind of make up for that mobility. I think teleport's okay. And then use lightning spear. Which again, it's like very much like a lightning bolt for the most part. So I think that fits in pretty well. Not perfectly, but pretty well. And it synergizes well with Frozen Orb, as well as Crackling Energy with its Roaring Lightning Spear upgrade that will eventually we'll be getting a lot of Crackling Energy, which is going to boost our Lightning Spear quite a bit. I know Hydra is kind of considered the meta right now for Sorceress, but there's no way to have Hydra be
quiet, yeah.
related to Storm, so we'll be using Hydra. Despite that, I'll then very soon unlock Unstable Currents. We'll probably go with Overflowing Energy. Have tried Gears Mastery before, but haven't had quite as much luck as I'd like with that. So we might try between the two. We might also try out potentially Enlightenment. Avalanche is another one if you're going more frost heavy. Does kind of seem fairly viable, but again, we're trying to do more of a hybrid build. This is going to be only on the frost side, so we'll see. Probably have to kind of balance it between these three and see what's working. Eventually we will solve the mana issue that the sorceress has here, kind of taking away kind of the usefulness of the mana reduction just for frost skills, but we will have eventually we will have unstable currents, lightning spear, and teleport in terms of cooldowns on the lightning side. So I'm probably leaning this way, but we will definitely try them out. And again, I'll show you guys some gameplay here now, and then I'll go over the skills, skill points that all use more than 30 to 40 level range. Here again, this very start of season 10, just started yesterday. I get only 20 levels, so gear is terrible. I've not even found an aspect yet, or finished a dungeon to unlock an aspect yet. I've only gotten a couple of tempering manuals, so we have a lot of work to do on this end. So I'll probably get more into the gear later on. Very beginning of the season, very first character, first 20 levels, you kind of just are stuck using what you get. This is some chaos perks here, and so far I've got accelerated chaos, which is damaging an enemy has up to 10% chance to trigger a chaos burst on the enemy, dealing 75 damage. Your chaos bursts that hit an enemy reduce a random active cooldown by half a second. So I get some more cooldown reduction there. So our next options are related to basic skills, which they come with a boost as well as a negative effect to the basic skills. Having a 3-second cooldown on a basic skill might make sense with a late game build, but right now it really doesn't. It's really helpful for restoring mana right now, so 3-second cooldown would be pretty hampering at the moment. So the magic Sork exclusive, which I just unlocked before starting this video, casting a basic skill increases damage by 10% for 5 seconds, 3 times. So while I am currently still using a basic skill, so I will go ahead and put that for now. And again, we'll look at some of the other ones when we get there. Mercenaries, I use Subo, and for my reinforcement, I use a rare. And again, I've only got kind of 1 or 2 points in here. So once I unlock some more, I can talk about the choices I make there, as well as on the abilities and the cure wise, runes and things like that. I'll talk about that kind of at the next stopping point. So this is the start of the build. I like to try to build towards my final build, even at the beginning, rather than taking too much of a level inside, outside of using the basic skill, because that will, really lets me know what I need to work on, rather than getting to a certain point and then switching all my gear over to a build just to find out I still need to work on it, and having to constantly switch the whole build over, which especially late game, is extremely, kind of difficult, time intensive with all the Paragon points and things like that. So tempering and masterworking, I think better to kind of level as you want and kind of deal with deficiencies. For example, for Sorceress, it's going to be mainly mana as we level up, so we can get a couple of either aspects or certain Paragon nodes or certain seasonal powers. It all kind of depends. What options you take will depend on what gear you get. So when we get to making those decisions, I can kind of talk 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 you through how that works, and at least how I approach it, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I'll go ahead here and show you guys some gameplay from about 20 to 40. Levels 20 to 40, and then we'll talk about the decisions that I make and the gear that I go with from there.
some sort of encasement. It's the sword of Horizon. It's the blade used to cut off Bartak's head at the end of the Mage Climber's long war. The demons must have been hiding it all these years. It's obviously important. The sword now has Amber's nest. Something we might need to prepare. Meet me at the County Library.
Okay, so now that our Mistress of the Elements, Sorceress, has reached level 45, this is the point where our build is now essentially up and running, and we need to start thinking about transitioning to the endgame and what we're going to be doing once we hit level 60. So we need to be a little bit more careful with some of our choices, and we'll be talking about that in our next video, as well as going through all of the gear that I've been able to pick up between level 20 and 45. Is looking very much different from where we were at the start of the video, so I'll be going through that, as well as talking more about the seasonal chaos perks, my thoughts on different choices that we have at this point, and planning out how we can transition from leveling into our eventual endgame build. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you like the premise behind what I'm doing for this build, I'd love to hear what you might go with. Or if there's any characters you can think of that you might like to see me do a series on, please let me know in the comments. As well, I have quite a bit of comic book related content that I've started working on. I have a couple of videos up already, so please check those out as well. You can find part 2 of this series. I'll have a link right here as soon as I have it up, which I should have that for you very soon. And again, if you made it to this point in the video, I really appreciate it, and hope to see you in our next episode.